Would you please rise? On behalf of Enrique's family, I want to thank you for joining us today. Go ahead and please be seated. My name's Mike, and I am Carmen and Enrique and Alex's pastor. And just want to thank you for being here as we remember Enrique and celebrate his life, a life lived with bravery, resilience, and faith. And while our hearts are heavy, we are bound together by our love for him and by the shared moments and memories that he's left behind. If you wouldn't mind, would you please bow your heads and pray with me? Heavenly Father, you know the pain that we carry today. The void left by Enrique's departure is immense, and our hearts ache. But we are thankful for the time we had with him, the lessons he taught us, and the love he shared. As we remember Enrique today, wrap us in your comforting embrace. We ask that you would strengthen us, guide us, and remind us of the eternal hope that we have in you. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. The next part of the service is a scripture reading. And when I first met Enrique, it was the beginning of 2020. And his mom, Carmen, was in a Bible study at my house. And as a church, we saw the uncertainty of COVID, and we decided to take some time. We pushed pause on everything we were teaching, and we decided to really dive into Psalm 23, the psalm about the Lord's shepherd. And we actually challenged our congregation to memorize this psalm as we walked through a really uncertain time. And for most of us, that uncertainty meant business was going to be bad or attendance is going to be bad. It meant that we might get sick. But Enrique took that challenge, and he took that 6-verse passage and he made it his. And he enjoyed the opportunity to be able to embody it. But while we were worried about COVID, I was learning that Enrique had been fighting a different battle. And I like to think that this passage we're going to read in just a moment became more to him than a lot of us will ever understand. When we talk about walking through the valleys, the valley of the shadow of death, this was a reality that Enrique, Carmen, Alex, family, that they really walked in. I want you to read these words or listen to these words as I read them. This is from Psalm chapter 23. This is, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. See, this passage, it speaks of valleys and shadows, but it also speaks of restoration, of guidance, and an eternal dwelling in the Lord's presence. And I'm confident that the shepherd who walked with Enrique in the valley is the same shepherd who is holding him in his arms at this exact moment. And today, as we remember this amazing young man, many of us are walking through those exact same things that we're talking about. The shadow of death. And this valley is not just a poetic expression, it's a visceral reality that we're experiencing. It's a space where we grapple with loss, where shadows of unanswered questions loom large, and where the pain we feel is almost tangible. Yet even in this deep valley, we're reminded of a presence that never departs us. See, one of the things that we cling to in this passage, and why it's one of the most widely memorized passages in the world, is because it's a reminder that when we walk in those dark times, those uncertain times, we're not alone. We're not walking through it by ourselves. We have a God, a shepherd, who is right there with us, mourning with us, struggling with us, suffering, right alongside us. And I like to think that in many ways, Enrique got to learn the voice, the comfort, the heart of the shepherd in these last few years more than some of us will ever experience. Because it wasn't just an idea to him, it was a reality that he was experiencing. He got to know the shepherd's voice. It's essential to remember that it's okay not to be okay today. I know sometimes the pastor's supposed to stand up here and tell you that not to grieve, but to have joy that he's in heaven, and I'm not going to tell you that. I am confident that Enrique is with the Lord, but it's also okay to grieve, and it's okay to hurt right now. Cancer is an injustice. It's not right. And it's okay to mourn when this happens, and I believe that God is mourning with us. There's a lot of unanswered questions, but I pray that you would hold on to the truth of Psalm 23, a truth that I believe that Enrique embraced and we're learning to grapple with ourselves. This is a truth that says no matter how dark the valley is, God is still guiding, he's still comforting, and he's still persistently pursuing us with a love that knows no bounds. Carmen, I want to say something to you. Words may never fully capture the depth of your pain and the love that you had for Enrique. The bond between a mother and her child is unique and it's sacred. And as his mother, you stood by his side through every single circumstance. You nurtured him, you prayed for him, and you provided him unyielding love. I want you to know that your strength and your resilience has been a testament to everybody in this room. During these times, please know that you're not alone. We stand by you. We're ready to support, comfort, and uplift you in any way possible. And Carmen, I know that when the time comes and I have to face a trial like this, I'm confident that I'm going to do it better because of watching you. Okay. Alex, growing up alongside a brother means a shared life of adventures, secrets, countless memories. Enrique wasn't just a sibling, he was a piece of your own story. The void of his passing, it might feel vast, but the love and the memories don't go away today. They will sustain, inspire, and if you let them, they'll guide you. At this time, in this dark time, it's okay to seek solace, to reminisce, and even to grieve deeply, but always remember that you carry a part of Enrique within you, and that connection remains unbroken. We're also here for you, Alex. We're holding you. We're ready to listen, and we're ready to support you. And I know, Alex, a lot of people will say that they understand, and you know they don't. I lost my brother when I was 17. He was 20. I really do understand a lot of what you're going through. And can I tell you, one of the best things you can do to honor him is just to keep going. You know, I'm watching these videos. A couple things I noticed. One is Enrique is the tallest person in every single picture by about 6 inches. The other thing I noticed is he thinks he can dance. Thinks. And did he do it with confidence? And man, that smile. This is a time to grieve, and that's okay. I think one of the greatest things we could do to honor Enrique is to fight the way that he fought and push through this. For many of you, your connection to Enrique is so deep that life will never, ever be the same, and that's okay. That's the cost of love. The cost of love is when we lose somebody, we're never the same again, and that's okay. We learn to live differently without his presence. And I would challenge you that that's what we do. Cancer is an injustice. It always will be. This seems unfair. But the way that Enrique has fought to stay here with us, he fought so hard. Best thing we can do, especially those of you who are so close to him, is to keep fighting in his honor. And let's learn to live again. Let's learn to live. At this time, I'd like to invite Elise Garcia Evans up to read the obituary.
With profound sadness, we announce the passing of Enrique Rafael Gabriel Gonzalez, who left us too soon on August 14th, 2023. Born in Sacramento, California, on December 22nd, 2002, Enrique was a beacon of resilience and love, living in his brief yet impactful life to the fullest. He resided in Springville, Utah, where he was a cherished member of the community. Enrique's charismatic spirit and unwavering courage left an indelible mark on everyone who had the privilege to know him. Enrique's zest for life was infectious. He found joy in the simplest of things, from hiking and gaming to dancing and singing. His laughter was a melody that echoed in the hearts of those around him, his quick wit always sparking joy and laughter in return. Despite his battle with cancer for 6 years, Enrique never let his spirit wane. His strength and resilience shining brightly, an inspiring soul who taught us the true meaning of courage and determination. Enrique served as a counselor in training at Camp Hobie, in testament to his determination and ability to bring joy to others, even in the face of adversity. As Maya Angelou once said, "I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it." Enrique embodied this quote, standing tall and ever inspiring, even in the face of life's harshest trials. Enrique is survived by his loving family, his mother Carmen Garcia, his brothers Alexander Gonzalez, Emmanuel and Abby Gonzalez, Tony and Tony Gonzalez, his sister Alicia and Eddie Montalvo, his nephews Axel Gonzalez, Cruz Montalvo, his niece Maya Montalvo, his aunts Elizabeth Garcia, Claudia and David Soto, Ruby Chamberlain, his uncles, Antonio Garcia, Emmanuel and Vicky Gonzalez, his grandparents, Virginia and David Bautista, and Rafael and Guadalupe Gonzalez. Uncle-in-law, Dugan Gonzalez, cousins, Ariana and Taylor Brown, Elise and Gavin Evans, Alistia Gallegos, Sean Chamberlain, Antonio Garcia, Soraya Chamberlain, Mauricio Garcia, Angelo Garcia, Bellissima Gallegos, Philip Salas III, Elena Salas, Michelangelo Salas, Yesenia Salas, David Santiago Soto, Abigail Gonzalez, Gabriel Gonzalez, Emma Gonzalez, and as many other family members and friends. Enrique was preceded in death by his father, Rafael Gonzalez. Enrique's spirit, resilience, and love will forever be remembered. We invite you to share your memories of Enrique, to laugh, to cry, and to celebrate a life truly well lived. Please leave your memories and upload photos to Enrique's memorial page to help us all remember the inspiring, loving, resilient, and charismatic human being that Enrique was. Along with the memories, let us all remember Enrique's life, not just for its hardships, but for its joy, its love, and its laughter. Enrique, we will forever carry your memories in our hearts.
I'd like to invite Tony Gonzalez up to read the eulogy. Hi, everybody. Thank you all for being here. I have never done this, so it may be hard for me, and I apologize if I break up quite a bit. But I know I wanted to do this for my dad when he passed 4 years ago, and I just couldn't, and I regretted it ever since. So I knew I had to do this for Enrique. So I'm going to do my best. Obviously, I just want to start off by saying thank you to everyone that came up and showed up for Enrique, not just today, but throughout his entire life, and especially during some of the hardest days these past 6 to 12 months. I know, and I know we all know how much all of us being here means to him. I mean, family meant the world to him, every bit of him. I know he's probably in here somewhere smiling and just looking at all of us and feels the love and feels the happiness. Family meant the most to Enrique. Even in his final hours, all he was worried about was his family, if we were going to make it, who was all going to be there, if we were all okay, if we were having, if we were comfortable, if we, were getting the things that we needed on his deathbed. All he worried about was us. And that says so much about how much he loves his family. When he was going through everything that he did, we were his main priority. It was very hard to see Enrique go through what he went through, but at the same time, when I left Utah a couple weeks ago, I left just very obviously heartbroken and crushed, but at the same time, I left so inspired by his strength. I mean, I have never, ever met anybody as strong as Enrique. I mean, the 6 years of battling this, it never affected him. Some days it would, some days it wouldn't. But at the end of the day, I mean, he kept going. And even in his final days, he kept saying, I'm going to get out of here. He was shopping on Amazon, having things shipped to his house. He just kept going. And I can't even comprehend that amount of strength, mental resilience, and will. Sorry, I lost my place. One thing it did show me was, even in your final days, the only thing that matters is the people that you care about.
Nothing in the world mattered to Enrique other than his family, his close friends. And at the end of the day, nothing else matters. A job doesn't matter. What you're going through doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what matters is the people that you care about, the people that are you're surrounded by, the people that love you, the people that you love. And in those final moments, in those final minutes, that is all he cared about. And that's something that I think that we can all take away from this is just be close with your family. Family means everything. Friends, family. I mean, that is literally all that mattered to him. I'm going to forever cherish the life and moments that I had with him. It was obviously very hard being states apart for basically our entire lives. For those of you that don't know, I lived with my mom. So he lived with my dad in Carmen for a little bit and then moved to Utah with his mom. And so it was obviously very tough to have as strong of a bond, with a brother that you can't have 2 states apart. But we made it work. Over the past 5-6 years, I did whatever I could to try and be close with him. There's only so much you can do in 2 completely different states. But one way that me and Enrique were able to bond, and one thing that I know he loves so much, and I'm sure you guys know, is video games. We played a lot of video games. I mean, we're talking 5-6 hours a night, every night. Tony can attest. I mean, I played in the living room, so she hated it. One of Enrique's favorite games was Red Dead Redemption 2. It's like a cowboy Western game, came out in 2017, and me and Enrique played that game religiously. And we became very close just during that time. I know it sounds weird to just play Xbox with somebody and become close, but me and Enrique are very similar in the ways that we kind of keep to ourselves. We're kind of quiet. We're kind of like the all ball out sometimes. Kind of nerdy as well. Enrique may be a little nerdier than me, but he loves it and he doesn't care, which I love. So I knew that being close with him or playing Xbox with him is going to be the only way. And of course he visited, when he could, and obviously what happened to him made things a lot harder for him to visit. But I would say over the course of the years that I decided to try and be as close to him as possible, me and him created a pretty strong bond. I mean, as strong as you can for being states apart. And I think I know that he loved both sides of his family. I know being torn, was the thing that kind of tore him apart, but I don't think it ever. I think everything worked out how it should have worked out, and I think that he is happy that we're all here for him right now, and I think that that's all that matters to him. I do want to talk about, obviously, some of the lighter things. I think the things that stand out most to me about Enrique was he was strong. He didn't care about what was going on, no matter what. I mean, he lost a lung. He was still trying to do things, still trying to run, still trying to walk, do everything that he possibly could. I mean, I don't know how he did it, but he did it. And he just kept going. And that's one thing that I will literally take on for the rest of my life is nothing else matters. Just keep going for the people that you love. I'll never forget his extremely quick wit. He was very funny, even in his final days. On a notepad, if he had to, he would just crack jokes, get a little sassy with some of the nurses and stuff. But that was just him. No matter what, he was just unapologetically himself. And I think that's what I love most about him. He would dance his heart out. Whether it was the best moves or not, he didn't care. He would do it right in the middle of everybody, knowing they're all watching. And I think I love that the most about him. He didn't care what anybody else thought. I think a lot of us can take some of that away. It was just interesting to see him learn something like that at such a young age, to not care what anybody thinks. And I think his certain circumstances just kind of made him realize that nothing matters. Nothing. Be yourself, be with your friends and your family. Enrique was one of the purest souls I've ever known. For that reason and many others, his love for his family and friends will never be forgotten. And I think I speak for everybody in here when I say we love you so much, Enrique. And we can't wait to see you again. And I hope Dad isn't making you do crazy workouts up there right now. I love you all. Thank you so much.
At this time, we'd like to invite family and friends to come up and share memories you may have of Enrique. Funny, felt whatever's on your heart. I would just ask that you come up here because we have people joining us virtually. Want to make sure they can hear. So I'm just going to open that up.
You knew you had to adjust it, didn't you? I didn't want to come up here. Enrique was one of my favorite people. And so this is very hard for me. I know he'd love to see everybody here right now. I do know there are people that have a lot to say about Enrique, and I encourage you to come up here and speak about him. Share your stories. Because Enrique would have been up here first thing, and I don't know that he would have danced up here, but he would have been up here to share his love for everybody. And I want everybody to remember that video of Enrique dancing in that Santa hat. And I laugh about that video every time I watch it. But that's why we're here, because he's just such a loving, damn kid. And he deserved everything. He deserved his life, and he fought like hell. And when you go about your life, I want you to remember that, when you're making your decisions in life. His cousins, you guys are all so young. When you're thinking about your path in life, remember how much Enrique fought, because he wanted to be here. He wanted to try everything. He played the damn trumpet. He didn't play it very good, but he played it. He was willing to try anything at least once because he had no fear. And he wanted to make sure everybody knew that you can come up here, you can do anything, and it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. Just show your love for Enrique. I honestly didn't want to be up here right now because it is very hard for me. But I can't continue, so if somebody can come up here.
Hello, I'm Vicky. I'm Enrique's favorite aunt. No offense to all the other aunts. The only reason why I say that is because, as everyone has been saying this, he loved so hard. He made everyone think that they were so special. When he talked to me, I could feel the love. Everything he would say, so positive, so happy. My friend May and Bella and my daughter Abby, we took him to Santa Cruz, and it was a long trip to get there. We knew he was in pain, and he never complained. He never once said, let's pull over, let's stop, nothing. We laughed, we sang, we talked the whole way there. We got there and it was freezing, and he was so happy. That day, he loved it. He wanted to go to the beach to watch the sunset, and we were all sitting there freezing, and he was out by the rocks. Just wanting to be there, just wanting to live life and see everything that he could. He always talked about what we were going to do next time. Next time that I come to Sacramento, we're going to do this. Next time I want to go here. He really wanted to go to Yosemite. He really wanted to, he told my husband, when I get out of the hospital, we're going to go back to Topgolf. Everything, he was always looking forward to being with family and doing things with us. And I just want to say, when you guys are out there, when you see a sunset, when you go to Topgolf, when you go horseback riding, know that he's going to be there with you, because he's everywhere. He's going to always be with us in our heart. And that's all I wanted to say. Carmen, Enrique, Alex, Emmanuel, your Tío Manuel and I are here for you guys always. And anything you need, please let us know. Enrique would do that for us. Enrique would do that for my kids. And I will always honor him that way. Thank you.
Oh, I don't really know how to start this off, but I guess I would like to say that one of the first memories I would like to share with you is Enrique would flick our foreheads really hard, that I would be rubbing my forehead for like 2 minutes minimum. And it was great. I never really seen him that much over the years, but every time I did, there was never one day he would not smile. I really hope that in his last few days he wasn't afraid. I hope he cherished every single minute with those he was close with, his loved ones, and I do wonder what he was like the days that we weren't there with him, the days he was alone. I will never understand his suffering, but I'm glad that he no longer has to suffer. He's in a better place. So I'm happy to say that today doesn't have to be a sad day. We're all sharing jokes and having a good time, smiles and laughters. And I just want Enrique to know that I love them. Thank you.
I just wanted to share one of the last memories I had with Enrique. I asked him what they did the night before, and he said they were watching the Avenger movies. I told him, well, I've never watched any of them. He couldn't really talk, so he wrote on a pad, gave it to his mom, and said, didn't know we had uncultured family. But the thing I took from that was he said family, and I know I'm just a family friend. He was such a special boy. I know we should be happy that he's happy. I know. But it's a hard time, and it's okay to be sad because we're going to miss him. I know his mother's going to miss him. And I couldn't imagine losing a child. But I want everyone to know I was so honored to meet him and be part of his life, even for a short time. And I know why he has that strength. He got it from his mother and his father. Okay, don't come at me. But Carmen's been so strong through this. I couldn't even imagine. But I'm just grateful to be able to be here and be here with you guys and be able to share this time. Thank you. I'm a friend of Enrique's. I met him when he was 15. He was my first friend after a really hard time. And somehow he just knew. Because that's just the type of guy he was. Sorry. I had so many things I wanted to say, but they're not. Like everyone's been saying, even at the end of his days, he was just a star, you know. Always wanting to do things, always calling to hang out and just to be there. I'm sorry, I can't really talk too much, but I just wanted to say how much I loved Enrique. Thank you.
Hi. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bella. I'm a childhood friend of Abby's, and I've gotten the opportunity of meeting much of your lovely family over our 15 years of friendship. Because of her, Enrique and I were introduced, and he became a close friend of mine. Over the few years I got to know him, I learned really quickly how much love he has for you all. His family was his drive for life. Enrique's ability to stay pure and genuine during a constant battle is something I will always look up to him for, and I know what he had was rare. I just wanted to take this time today to share some things he would tell me about his life, you know, his thoughts and his family. He and I would talk like almost every day, and we would try to keep in touch even when I moved away for college. One thing he said to me was, I'm extremely tired, but if I'm ever going to do something now, it's the time. You go kick college's ass and I'll kick cancer's. We'll show them that no matter how hard they try to keep us down, we will prevail and overcome. Another time, I asked him how he was doing a while back while he was getting treatment. And I told him how amazing he was for staying so positive despite everything he was going through, and he wrote me this. Thank you. Honestly, it gets tough sometimes, but I just remember how positive my dad was, even when he was going through the toughest times of his life. Just to see me and my brother. I want to be like that for everyone else. I want to I feel like I owe it to my dad and myself to stay positive and to not let it get to me. It's genuine kindness and passion for life through Enrique, and it will forever be his gift to me. You all were his love and his drive for life. I really hope you take comfort in the words I shared today. Sorry. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to come and share?
Hi everyone, I'm Claudia Enrique's aunt. I had the opportunity to be here with Enrique while he was in the hospital. The last 2 times he was in the hospital. The Marvel movies, I told him I never watched them either. So we did a Marvel marathon. We started a Marvel marathon back in June. So together. This last time he was in the hospital, he reminded me that we had to continue watching the movies. So we did. And even though he'd fall asleep, when he woke up, he'd rewind it and we'd start watching them over again. And someone talked about his wit and his snarkiness. He had a respirator, an oxygen mask, and he'd move and it'd be uncomfortable, so he'd take it off, and me and his aunt would have to help him put it back on and adjust it. A lot of times. A lot of times. The nurses came in. We had the respiratory team come in to try to help him adjust his mask. And he told the nurses and the doctors, they were all gathered around. There was like 6 of them. And he tells them, you'd think with all the money the hospital makes, you'd have better equipment. Because the mask wouldn't stay on his face. So like Tony said, you know, he was still making us laugh. And his biggest worry was his family. I'm sorry that I'm not getting better fast enough. I'm sorry that you guys are missing a lot of time off of work. That was his worry. Everyone else. He told us he wanted to go back to Sacramento. He had planned to go back to Sacramento in August. And he said, I wish I can just go back to Sacramento at least one more time. I have so many good memories at Nana and Tata's house. And he'd ask what the next step was. Because he thought he was going to get out of the hospital. He thought he was going to go home. And I told him the next step is just having you be able to breathe. Just concentrate on your breathing.
I do want to share a couple memories to lighten the mood a little bit. I talked to Enrique about these memories while I was with him a couple weeks ago, and they made him laugh. So I wanted to just share them with you guys. I will never forget. I vividly remember Enrique being born. I wasn't there, but I did come a few days later because I visited my dad on Christmas breaks. So I was there during Christmas, and I think it was like a few days after Christmas. My dad had just showed me Enrique. He's like in the little car seat thing or whatever it was, and he also just got an Xbox, which in 2001 it was brand new. It was like the newest thing ever. It was like the coolest thing ever, and just got Halo, which just came out that year too, which was the coolest thing ever. Like every kid's dream. And so me and Manuel were just so stuck on that game. And my dad was like, "Hey, you got a brother, like play with your brother. Like he's right there." And I'd look at him and I would just like go back to the game. And I still vividly remember that. I remember what he was wearing. He had like a yellow jacket, yellow shirt or something. But, and so I told Enrique that. And then another very vivid memory, or I got a couple more. Another vivid memory I have is when my dad, Carmen, and Enrique lived together. I don't know which house it was, but it was the one by that cemetery. Me and Manuel would play with Enrique a lot because that's all we could do. There's no cell phones back then. There's nothing, just play with each other. And that's what brothers do. Well, Enrique had this little Tonka truck or something that had like a seat on it, or maybe it didn't, but we just put him on it. And I realized I ended up pushing Enrique on that into Manuel and like hurting him, and it made Enrique like cry laughing. So then I just did it over and over and over and over and over, and Manuel's just getting messed up, and Enrique would just bust up laughing. So I just kept doing it. And when I told Enrique that, he started laughing, even with his respirator on. He started laughing, and that made me really happy, and I know it made him really happy. And then I'll never forget too, when we found out, this was years later, different house, we found out that Carmen was having another baby. I remember, I don't know how Manuel felt, but I remember being devastated. I was like, I just thought, oh my God, Enrique's gonna be forgotten. Like I was so just mind blown, and I was so sad, and I just thought, Enrique, what's gonna happen with Enrique? And like I didn't know at the time, And so I just remember being so devastated, and I was like so heartbroken over it. Obviously, Alex, everything was fine. We all played together, but I just remember being so devastated. And when I told Enrique that too, he started laughing. But yeah, it was just, I'm glad that he had Alex to be there with him every day and the rest of his family. And I know that he loves everybody, loves all of you guys. And I know he still cherishes all his memories, and I hope you guys all do too. Thank you.
I want to share some happy memories with Enrique. Back in American Fork, when you guys lived by the fence that shocks people, he would tell us that it's off, and he would tell us to touch it. And then going to Grandma's house, he would have some Pop Rocks and tell us to dance and throw them at our feet. And he was a wild kid. He was always funny, trying to make us do something. Always wanted to go out and have some fun instead of just doing something boring like playing on our phones or something. Even at Alistia's quince, he would always dance, and I don't see him taking a break. He was just want to know that he's loved by everyone, and he made everyone feel special and didn't make anyone feel bad or anything. He always loved everyone like a family, even his friends. Thank you.
Hi. Excuse me. I know most of you don't know me. My name is Jasper, and I met Enrique at Camp Hobie about 6 years ago. He was one of the first people I remember really noticing, possibly due to how tall he was. There really is no other way to put it. Enrique was the spirit of Camp Hobie. He was always the first to volunteer for everything. He would always jump at the chance to make someone smile. My first year there, I was really shy and didn't really quite feel like I fit in. And it was really Enrique that made an extra effort to help me feel included and a part of everything. There isn't one person from camp that won't tell you that he was the life of the party. His goofy dancing and all of his jokes at every opportunity. Everything he did was to make others smile and happy. He'll always be one of my biggest inspirations. And he never had a bad attitude about anything. He was the most positive person I ever knew, and he fought with so much spirit right up to the end. I will never forget him or the way that he inspired everyone around him.
I remember when I was first learning how to drive, me and Enrique hopped into my bright green Beetle, and him being so tall he couldn't fit in it, that he broke the seat. And still broken, but he couldn't fit in it. And I remember I was like, just come with me so I can learn how to switch lanes and do all this stuff. And I remember just making this turn, and the whole car almost flipped on its side. And he just laughed and just made so many jokes, made fun of me the whole time. And then I remember that same night, my friend called me saying the weirdest stuff. And I just remember him giving me the fattest side eye. I was like, okay. And even though Enrique and I butt heads the day of my graduation, he still managed to like help me, just like lift me up, make me feel better when my heart was shattered. Because even in the darkest moments, he had the ability to light the room up and crack a joke. And I'll never forget the way that he was there for me, even when my heart was.
Hello, everyone. I'm Taylor. I'm I guess a cousin-in-law to Enrique, and I didn't know him as long as probably a lot of you guys did. Only about 2 years, really. It was the first time I met him was at our wedding, and man, he definitely was a dancer there. He was the spirit of the party. He was. I loved having him there. I felt like he was a friend that I'd never even realized I had. We've gone on a couple hikes with him, and he's come to visit us sometimes at our house. And I'm inspired by how someone with such a unique set of trials could go through them as joyfully and full of enthusiasm as he was. He really was always trying to make everyone else feel good. He tried to help everyone feel loved. And I think that really takes a unique kind of person to go through that and still be that way. I think if God's going to welcome anyone with open arms into heaven, it's someone like Enrique. I know that for sure. And so thank you.
Would anybody else like to share? Before, please come on up.
I'm super nervous. So the first time I met Enrique, I was in elementary school, and they had like little portable classrooms outside from the main building. And I remember walking around at recess, and I saw him underneath the metal stairs that went up to the portable classrooms. And there's a kid, the stairs were like the grated metal. There's a kid above him just screaming something at him, and he was spitting on Enrique. And I remember just like freaking out, like, what is this kid doing? And he left, and I met him next to the building. I'm like, what are you doing to this kid? And I don't remember the rest of the conversation, but what I do remember is that I smashed his head against the side of the elementary school. And he left Enrique alone from then on. But I went back and talked to him for a little bit, and we became good buddies in elementary school. And by far one of my favorite memories, that this kid knew how to embarrass me way too well, because he knew I'm like really nervous. I have really bad anxiety, so he knew how to get me really good. And we were in junior high, and it was my birthday, and this kid, dude, we'd walk around yell, and he'd be yelling in the hallways, "It's his birthday! You should give him stuff." I'm like, no. And we'd go into the lunchroom, and we'd be like going into the lines, and he'd be like, "You should let him skip you. It's his birthday." I'm like, "No, it's okay." He's like, "Nah, you got to skip their line." I'm like, "I'm not skipping the line, dude." We'd sit down, finally have our food, and he'd go around collecting other people's sugar cookies, going, "It's his birthday. You should give him your cookies." I'm like, "No, stop." It was so bad. And you finally would sit down, and he had this huge stack of cookies, and he'd give me like one and keep the rest of them. I'm like, what? He's like, "I did all the work, dude. I'm keeping the cookies." He always knew, man. In high school, he'd like just walk up to other girls at the other tables and be like, "Yo, my friend likes you." I'm like, no. You should give him your number. I'm like, no. He was always really fun and outgoing and knew how to push me beyond my limits, what I really liked about him.
One more. I know somebody's right on the edge of their seat and they're just not sure if they have the courage to get up here and say something. I'm telling you, you have the courage. Come say something. Yes.
I remember at my sister's quince and Ryan's wedding, he'd always just drag me out to the dance floor. And I'd always be super embarrassed because of his dancing. But even when I tried to leave, he would always drag me back and tried to make me dance until I actually did dance. But it was one of the greatest cousins I had. I'm gonna miss him.
Hello, everybody. I'm Emmanuel, Enrique's older brother. I don't really know. I didn't have anything prepared or anything. I just, it's been a lot for me to take in since I haven't really been able to be in Enrique's life all that much. I have a lot of memories with him though when we were kids, and my brother Tony said one of our best memories were playing Xbox together, and remember my dad, we used to live at this old house and had a cemetery right across from it. And my dad thought it would be funny to play jokes on us all the time. And me and Tony were playing Xbox, and I remember Enrique's just sitting behind us because I don't know why we would just always, I don't know, we would always just like forget he was there for some reason. I don't know why, but you know, and it was funny because he was the only one that noticed, and he kept trying to tell us that something was hitting the window. And all of a sudden we turn around and we freak out because there was this huge bang on the window, and it was like, I don't know, we didn't know what it was. And my dad freaked us out. He had a huge pole attached to another pole that had like a rake on it. And then he attached like this like stuff that kind of looked like trash bags or like a glove or something like that. Freaked us out, started hitting the window. We just went screaming and running out of the room, freaking out. And like my dad just cracking up. And Enrique knew about it too, I guess, the whole time. And he was just on the floor rolling. Just is the best thing ever. Like his smile is something that I feel like carried on with me through most of my childhood. I feel like I don't really know a lot of people that were as genuine as him. And I feel like his heart and spirit was something that's not, it can't be copied. It can't be redone. Like he's a one-on-one. And I really wish that I had more time to get to know my little brother. It's just hard because like I didn't see him for so many years. And I you know, it's beautiful because I built my own family, but I can't get back those years. And it haunts me because he's such a great soul, and I wish I would have gotten to know everything about him. And I found myself sitting there asking him, like, you know, like, what are your favorite things? And I just stopped, and I didn't want to play 21 questions with him. I just wanted to be there. And I remember one thing that I was really happy about was I had to eat, you know, and he wasn't really feeling the best in his last days. And a lot of the family members before I got there said that they try to feed him, try to give him something, you know, that wasn't terrible hospital food that he said he hated. And I remember one morning I was sitting with him and I said, "Hey, Rick, like, are you hungry? And like, is there anything I could get you that's better than this food?" And he goes, "You know what? I want some KFC." And I go, "Okay, man, like, what do you want? I'll give you the whole bucket, the whole shebang." And he just goes, "No, man, I just want a little bit." And you know, it made me happy because it was the first time I seen him smile in so long. And last time I saw him smile was when my dad was alive. And that was like his best friend. And Alex, I'm just grateful that he had them, you know, for all the time that I wasn't there. I'm just really happy that he had such great people around him. And you guys are all so amazing. And I love every single one of your stories. And all your memories shared with him. It just means so much. And it's really hard for me to come up here today. It's like what Tony said, I really wish I could have did something like this when my dad passed away. And I just didn't have it in me. It was really unexpected. And just took a toll on me. And I feel like I owe this to not only my dad, but to Enrique, because he was the best brother I could ask for. And he never showed any kind of doubt in me every time I told him about what I wanted to do in my dreams. And he always supported it, no matter how silly he probably thought it was. And that was something that always stuck with me and always will. And I'll always cherish every moment I've ever had with him. Thank you. I love you, Enrique.
Well, my picture of Enrique has enlarged in huge ways. Before he got his lung removed, he was over at my house with his mom, and he was telling me that his aunt invited him to go run a half marathon. And I said, "Oh, that's awesome. I don't run. I'm chubby." And I said, "So have you been training?" And he said, "No." I said, "So have you ran before?" And he said, "No." And I said, "I don't know how well this is going to turn out." And a couple weeks later, it comes to find out he got one of the highest, and maybe I got the details wrong, but he got one of the best times in his second place in his age group. Didn't train, just wanted to go run with his aunt. And that kind of is a picture of Enrique. He's the life of the party. He's the spirit of camp. I can't remember the name of it. You don't want to tell him it's your birthday. He was relentlessly committed to making sure his family was in a better position than he was. Incredibly optimistic. He always wanted to make sure that everybody around him was having a good time and laughing. And I could just keep going on. A lot of times when you stand in these environments, you have to bend the truth a little bit to make the person seem better than they really were. And can I tell you what a gift it is that we get to honor Enrique and remember Enrique and celebrate the life he had and mourn his loss without having to bend the truth at all. He left a mark. And because of him, everyone in this room is going to be a little bit different. He made an impact on everybody he met, whether it was at camp or at high school or in the car on the way to the beach with his family. He was always, everywhere he was going, he was always lifting up everybody around him, or better because of him. At this time, we're going to end the live stream, and then we're going to have our last moments with Enrique. We're going to open up the casket. So I'm going to ask Beth if she's here to make sure we have the live stream turned off. And so if you just